devastating news, I would say, but I don't think it was unexpected given the time period of the season. Caitlin Clark announced on her social media that she will miss the rest of the season. She captioned it in short, in part, I had hoped to share a better update, but I will not be returning to play this season. I spent hours in the gym every day with a singular goal of getting back out there. Disappointed isn't a big enough word to describe how I am feeling. She was limited to 13 games this season.
WNBA legend Candace Parker just exposed the one truth the league has been desperately trying to hide. The war on Caitlin Clark isn't just a rookie hazing ritual, it's a ticking time bomb that could obliterate the WNBA. The league's biggest star is being systematically targeted on the court, and now the whispers are growing louder. What if Clark, with her millions in endorsements and unprecedented power, decides she's had enough? This isn't just a bad look for the Indiana Fever, it's a doomsday scenario for the entire league. If Caitlin Clark walked away tomorrow, the WNBA wouldn't just stumble, it would collapse.
She was limited to 13 games this season, and she hasn't played since July 15th when she suffered a right groin injury in the final minute of the Fever's win versus the Sun right before the All-Star game.
I mean, that's our girl. You know, that's our girl. And I feel like no matter what happened, you have to protect you and you have to protect your career.
Candace Parker, a champion who understands the brutal toll of the game, refused to play along with the league's narrative. She flat out stated that the level of aggression toward Clark is not just welcome to the league. Physicality, it's a dangerous failure of the system. Parker warned from her own experience how ignoring the warning signs and grinding through abuse can shorten a career. Her message was a direct shot at the WNBA's leadership. Stop justifying the attacks on your biggest star before you permanently break her. Don't let her repeat my mistakes. This was wisdom delivered with authority, a clear warning that the league is bullying its most important player toward a cliff.
There's no reason to force anything, and I feel like her just kind of having that approach of doing what's best for her is all we can ask for, because we'd rather Caitlin sit out and then come back next season and we're ready to roll and we're ready to rock. And so we've just been supporting her and she's been supporting us. She's always there. We're getting to watch film and she's in there walking through saying, hey, and we're like, get out, go do what you need to do. But I mean, she's still the same. And I feel like our approach, because we've been missing her for so long, is just to come in and compete. And we have a good rhythm, I think, with everyone that's came in. And so just keeping that as our main focus.
The stakes couldn't be higher, because this isn't just about one player's health, it's about the league's survival. The Caitlin Clark effect is a documented phenomenon. We're talking record-shattering TV ratings on networks that previously ignored the league, sold-out arenas on the road, and jersey sales that outpaced entire NBA teams within hours of her being drafted. She didn't just move the needle, she dragged the entire WNBA into the mainstream spotlight. And now, the league is letting that golden goose get beaten in plain sight while its executives stay silent, as if they are blind to the miracle unfolding before them.
Steph White had said that they were hopeful that Clark would return by the end of the regular season, but Caitlin was unable to fully reincorporate back into practice. And, you know, she had never missed a game in her collegiate career or her first year in the WNBA. So this is definitely a blow, I'm sure, for the organization, but also for her. Fever went 8-5 when Clark played and 15-15 without her. You all did win the Commissioner's Cup for the first time in franchise history without her. So maybe that is also another precursor. But big picture from the outside looking in, I have been a player that has had a number of injuries. And
every single game has become a brutal gauntlet. Clark is being hip-checked, shoved in mid-air, and hammered with off-ball screens that look more like NFL blocks than basketball plays. It's become a nightly spectacle of cheap shots and borderline flagrant fouls. The infamous blindside hit from Chennedy Carter wasn't an isolated incident. It was just the most blatant example of a league-wide problem. The referees swallow their whistles, the commissioner's office issues vague statements, and everyone pretends this is just normal, competitive fire. But fans see it for what it is, a coordinated effort to neutralize the one player keeping the lights on.
And taking the time. And there is a difference in being a role player and coming in and playing a role and coming in off of an injury. There is a rhythm. But when you are Caitlin Clark and you have the ball in your hands and you are on the other team's scouting report, to come in half and not be able to be in that amount of I would say shape, rhythm of the game, because the rhythm of the game changes towards the end of the year. And so when it started getting closer to the end of the regular season, I was like, it's dangerous to come back during playoff basketball because the whole flow, the physicality, all of that is different. And so I know it's difficult to kind of take time and understand the big picture, especially when you're living with tunnel vision and you've worked so hard to get to where you're at, but it's the smart thing. And I'm proud of this generation for taking the time they need, looking at the bigger picture, and making sure that they get healthy. So, Caitlin Clark, hope you feel better. You have a great off season and you come back.
This hostility isn't just random aggression. It's fueled by a narrative of veteran resentment. While some call it welcome to the league, hazing, fans see something uglier. Jealousy. Players who have toiled in relative obscurity for years now watch a rookie command multi-million-dollar deals and private jets to games, all while receiving more media attention than the last 10 champions combined. The thinly veiled comments from rivals and the overly aggressive play suggest that some veterans are not just competing with Clark, they seem intent on punishing her for a level of fame they feel is unearned. The league, instead of quashing this narrative, has let it fester into a toxic culture of animosity. But the attacks weren't just happening on the court. The decision to leave Clark off the U.S. Olympic team sent a shockwave through the sports world, fueling a powerful new conspiracy. Fans immediately saw it as a deliberate snub from an establishment that resents her fame. It was perceived as a message from the old guard. You may be the fan favorite, but you are not one of us. This move didn't just hurt Clark. It alienated the millions of new fans she brought to the sport, making them question their loyalty to a league that would sideline its most popular player on the world's biggest stage. This blatant failure to protect a star asset is almost unheard of in professional sports. When Michael Jordan entered the NBA, he faced the infamous Jordan rules, a physical strategy designed by the Detroit Pistons to stop him. But the league, led by David Stern, quickly realized that letting their rising superstar get brutalized was bad for business. They adjusted officiating and cracked down on overly aggressive play to protect their investment. The WNBA, however, is doing the exact opposite. They are allowing a modern-day Clark rules to flourish, signaling to the entire league that it's open season on their biggest draw. It's a level of mismanagement that borders on sabotage. This is where the entire power dynamic flips. Previous WNBA stars needed the league for a platform. Caitlin Clark does not. With a massive Nike deal reportedly worth $28 million, a Gatorade contract, and a pre-existing media empire from her college days, she holds all the cards. The WNBA is a single revenue stream for her, and likely not even her largest. The league needs her to sell tickets and secure TV deals. She could walk away tomorrow and be more famous and richer than ever, a terrifying reality for the front office that seems to have forgotten who truly has the leverage. The silence from the top has been deafening. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's responses have been weak and delayed, often coming only after massive public outcry. The league spent months plastering Clark's face on every advertisement, using her to drive unprecedented growth. But when it came time to actually protect their investment, they vanished. This glaring hypocrisy has created a massive trust issue. The league is happy to cash Clark's checks, but refuses to have her back when she's getting assaulted on the floor. It's a betrayal not just of a player, but of the very idea of professional stewardship. You can see the immense toll this is taking, even in Clark's carefully crafted public comments. She remains professional, always crediting her teammates and focusing on the next game. But the frustration is visible. You can hear it in the clipped tone of her post-game interviews after yet another physical loss, and see it in her body language on the court. She's a fierce competitor being forced to navigate a hostile environment with no support from the very institution that should be championing her. This isn't just about physical bruises, it's a psychological war of attrition, and fans are watching to see how long she can endure it. That's why the nightmare scenario feels so plausible. What if Clark decides her body, her brand, and her future are more valuable than playing in a league that refuses to protect her? Imagine her taking her talents to a European league, where the physicality is less brutal, the pay is often higher, and she would be treated like the superstar she is. Or picture her stepping away from the court entirely to build her media company, becoming the next major voice in sports broadcasting. The league would be left with nothing but regret, a ghost town of empty arenas and canceled TV contracts. Let's talk about the real numbers at stake here, because the financial doomsday clock is ticking. Teams are moving their games against the Indiana Fever to NBA arenas just to accommodate the tens of thousands of fans Clark draws. Ticket prices have skyrocketed by over 100% across the league. The WNBA's recent TV deal with Scripps was celebrated as a victory, but everyone knows that deal's future value is entirely dependent on Clark's presence. If she leaves, sponsorships will dry up, networks will demand rebates, and the entire financial structure propped up by her fame will crumble overnight. This crisis has exposed the WNBA's deepest flaws. For years, players have complained about subpar travel conditions, low salaries, and a frustrating lack of marketing. Then, Clark arrived, and for a moment, the flood of new money and attention made it seem like those problems were solved. But the second she started taking hits, the illusion shellished. The same old issues of a league struggling with its own identity came rushing back to the surface, proving that one star can't fix a broken foundation. She didn't cause these problems, but her stardom has thrown them into unforgivingly sharp relief. The media frenzy has become a double-edged sword that the WNBA is completely failing to manage. Outlets from ESPN to morning talk shows debate her every move, creating a constant storm of attention. While this drives ratings, it also magnifies every cheap shot and every controversial comment from rivals. Instead of navigating this firestorm with strong leadership, the league stays quiet, allowing negative narratives to spiral out of control. They are reaping the benefits of the media attention while simultaneously letting Clark absorb all the heat alone. It's a failure of media strategy on an epic scale. Candace Parker's warning now sounds like a prophecy. She lived through the league's old way of doing things, where players were expected to sacrifice their bodies for the good of the game. By speaking out now, she is essentially waving a giant red flag, telling everyone that the WNBA hasn't learned a DMN thing. She sees them making the same mistake all over again, but this time with a star so big, the fallout could be fatal. Her words are not just an opinion, they are a verdict on the league's incompetence, delivered by one of its most respected figures. This isn't just a PR problem, it's a fan crisis. The millions of new viewers tuning in aren't loyal to the WNBA. They are loyal to Caitlin Clark. They are the ones flooding social media, calling out the dirty plays, and expressing their fury over the Olympic snub. Their message is simple and terrifying for the league. If you run her out of the game, we are leaving with her. That's not a threat, it's a promise, and it represents what instant financial ruin looks like for a league that was on the verge of a breakthrough. Let's be clear. Caitlin Clark is not just another high-profile rookie. Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, and Candace Parker were legends who carried the torch, but Clark ignited a wildfire. She brought in an entirely new demographic of fans who had never cared about professional women's basketball before. You can't replace that. Losing a traditional star hurts. Losing a cultural phenomenon like Clark would be a complete reset back to half-empty arenas, irrelevant TV slots, and a forgotten corner of the sports landscape. So what is this? Really, is the league's inaction a calculated strategy to let veterans humble the new face of the sport, hoping she falls in line? Or is it sheer catastrophic incompetence from a front office that has no idea how to handle the global superstar who fell into their lap? In the end, the motive doesn't matter. They are actively risking their entire future by allowing their most valuable asset to be treated like a disposable commodity, and the clock is ticking faster every day. The WNBA is officially at the point of no return. Candace Parker laid the truth bare for all to see. The league has a choice: radically change its approach and start protecting the generational talent that is single-handedly funding its growth, or watch her walk out the door. If they continue down this path of neglect, her departure won't just be a headline, it will be the WNBA's obituary. The question is no longer if she has the power to leave, but how much more she's willing to take before she uses it.